Hey guys, Chris here with Work to Game, and today I'd like to consider a question about the Nintendo Switch. Should the Nintendo Switch be held to the same standard as Xbox and PlayStation? I personally fall very much on one side of this, but I can see that there's two sides, so today I'll be debating myself. Obviously, this is because both sides are fair, logical, and worth considering. Exactly. Now, the PlayStation and Xbox have done a lot of things to become very competitive in the definition of a home gaming console. One might be willing to say PlayStation because PlayStation 2 is the best-selling console of all time. Yes, but with the Xbox 360 and the PS3 virtually tied, one might say we should look at the current generation. Okay then, PS4 has outsold Xbox One by far. Okay, but what about the community? Because Xbox has 48 million subscribers and PlayStation Network only has 20 million. Those numbers aren't from the same point in time, but yes, Xbox has PlayStation beat a little bit there. But from here we could debate the two controllers, which have a very similar experience. Or the hardware power that each generation is so quick to brag on. Or the exclusive titles that are so few and far between that honestly I don't see them playing a big role in which way somebody goes. Yes, most likely people are buying whatever they bought last time or whatever their friends are on. But how does this affect whether or not they buy a Nintendo console? Well, I'm here to debate the side that Nintendo should be bound by all the very same standards as the other two when we're trying to decide what a good console is. It's worth being pointed out that those are both technology companies, Sony being known for some of its hardware, Microsoft being known for a lot of its software, and those are really entertainment divisions, like Sony helps make movies. Nintendo is a solely gaming company, so they can be trusted to branch out. The Nintendo Switch needs a competition with the Xbox Live and PlayStation Network, which they're doing, so it's a sign that they themselves do see that they need to keep up. Yes, but in all those hours of live events, how many clips can you find where they were focused on hardware or FPS? Instead, the entire experience was driven how it's going to be shared, how it's going to be with all your friends, and how honestly it doesn't really matter what the game is. Some of these games don't even require that you look at the screen. And people are let down. Just Google Nintendo Switch sucks, and you'll get over 800,000 results. Maybe don't click on all of them, but there are a few good ones in there. I would point you at Shaq News as the top result. Did you actually watch the intro to that video? They confirmed that they're buying a Nintendo Switch. They made a great point with battery life being less than something to be thrilled about. Okay, but I thought your argument was that they should be held to the same standard as other consoles. I believe off the top of my head that Xbox and PlayStation combined have a total of 0 hours of battery life. And have you ever taken one of them somewhere? It's a pain in the butt to get it through the airport. Okay, then let's look at how the other two do much better online play. First of all, they have said they are doing this, and until we know more, this should be off the table for both sides of the argument. And honestly, does Nintendo even have to do achievements? Of course they do. Achievements build a sense of community, they drive competition, they give you a sense of self-achievement and drive you into maybe parts of the game you wouldn't have otherwise experienced. Achievements should be on every single platform, hands down. Yes, but my mother pre-ordered a Wii, and she doesn't even play games on her phone. She's just now getting used to some games on her tablets, and honestly that's just because of the gap in the Wii ending, and she didn't really get into the Wii U. Nintendo is not driving to core players, but rather anybody that wants to have fun. So this is a huge worldwide community that they're diving into. And I'd like to point out that a forecast of 20 million units by 2020 is not that exciting. I only saw that in a few articles so far, but they better pick up the pace if this is going to be defined as success. The Wii sold over 100 million units, and the Wii U, which a lot of gamers consider a failure in that it just didn't drive the market the way the Wii did, only sold 13 million units. They have the strongest intellectual property of any gaming company by far, and a huge bankroll, so they can afford to take a misstep with a console or two in a row, especially because the 3DS is still doing incredibly well to the point where it pushed the Vita out of the space, and the Xbox won't even try. And most people that bash on the Wii U didn't have one. It had some neat games. It just suffered from the fact that a lot of those games would have been a lot better if I had multiple people to play with, and so it's kind of a chicken before the egg type conversation. Okay, games are part of the big draw. There are a lot of gamers out there who will want to get their hands on exclusive titles like Zelda and Mario, and would be driven to go buy this console just for them. But is this to say that exclusives should be carrying bad console design? On the contrary, exclusive titles are one of the things that allow Nintendo to break the mold so well. They can break the mold, they can use their exclusive titles to teach other developers how to take advantage of all these unique technologies. so that other developers can have the confidence and understand how they can take advantage of, for example, these wonderful haptic Joy-Cons that I'd love to get my hands on. Without these exclusive titles, they would be forced to use the controllers in the same way they developed for Xbox and PlayStation, and they would be missing out on the huge opportunities that Nintendo has opened for them. Alright, then why are so many of these exclusive titles late to launch? It does seem at first to be a little disappointing that they didn't release more titles at launch, but when you talk about a March launch date, I think they're intentionally holding some of those to help drive hype for the holiday season. And there are plenty of old faces like Zelda and new faces coming out at launch that will help us get used to the game and still drove pre-order sales through the roof. I was actually having trouble finding retailers that weren't sold out when I was trying to pre-order mine, so I don't know where people are saying they're failing. If you open a lemonade stand and you sell all the lemonade, it's tough to criticize what you're doing. 80 titles does sound like a big vote of confidence from the 50 developers that are already working on the Nintendo Switch. It's something that seems very unique, but it's very tough to succeed in the home gaming space. That's why Xbox and PlayStation have made so many features standard, because gamers have decided, I'm not buying a console that doesn't have these. I just feel that they might have left too much of a gap between those features that Xbox and PlayStation have both deemed necessary and what they're coming out with, and you can't go that far from standard. Nintendo might be the only company creating a console that doesn't cause its owners to question, why don't we just eventually all use computers? So I think for everyone's sake, it is not a bad thing that they have helped give us a reason for the console. Those are some interesting points. I'd love to hear what other people think. Should Nintendo be more like the other two giants? And if the only true successful mobile gaming company wants to teach us why we should still have consoles in our home, they shouldn't have to be bound by the same standards as everybody else who's doing so in the space. Are you getting one? If not, was it really the presentation that swayed you one way or the other? Even if you are getting one, does the live event really drive that much traffic that was on the fence? Should they do their own thing? Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Please like this video if you'd like to see more like it, or just like what we do here on Work to Game. We produce gaming related videos almost every single day and would love to have you. It's a heck of a community. Thanks for watching.